Alright, when it comes to experimenting and trying new things, one thing always leads to another, it seems. And I did this scene in my last video. Black, graphite black pigment ink up top with Platinum Planet and Starlight Silver down below, giving it this kind of silver sheen and this transitioning tone up here. But that got me to thinking, why don't I just use silver on black, and wouldn't that kind of just remove a lot of the process for me? So let's go with this is a 5x7 pre-folded card, okay? And it's just on black, kind of thick paper. I don't know what pound weight this is. It's probably like I don't know, like a 90 or 105 pounds, something like that. I don't know. But let's brayer some tones down here with silver, and let's see if I can't get a decent coverage with this brayer on here. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is it'll be a front and back type of thing. I could go portrait, but I think we'll go landscape on this, okay? So on cards, when it's like this and when it comes to scenes, I usually use the front and back, you know, if they're the same thing. And if it's a pre-folded card, why not make the use of it? But because of this ridge right here, see if I went across this way, I mean, undoubtedly that would show up down here, okay? When I go over that little bump, there'd be a little bit of a space in between. So I thought we would just go this way. So I'll have some transitions of silver down here, and then we'll go into a night sky, and then we're going to try some additional effects using silver ink, where I would normally use white on something like this, but let's give it a shot here, okay? Let's go, I'll start kind of halfway up or so, like this. Let me go this way. A little bit easier for me, okay? I'm really utilizing the dry application of this, you know, for these transitioning tones, okay? Okay. Let me use a little bit of a lighter touch now as I go on here. I am lifting this. Someone said, hey, you should lift it. And I was thinking, in one of my other videos, I was thinking, I was lifting, like, constantly. But they were right, though. You know, that's how you get all these little things, and you want to change the revolution kind of pattern in there. Okay, so I am coming up like this. I want it fairly light because I want that transition. I have a heavy thing around down there. I probably should have went a little bit lighter with that initial, coverage that I put down on that. But coming around, I don't know. It always looks a little bit uneven to me until I kind of, I don't know, just repeatedly go over this like this. Okay. Using a very light touch. Okay. Now, I'm not worried about some of that texture in there. I mean, I want to get it as smooth as I could get, but I'm not worried about that down there because I'm going to be stamping imagery over that anyway, so... okay, this is making pretty quick work of it, and I have this black coming down this way inherently, so I don't need to come in there. Now, if it looked really bad, what I would do is I would probably put on some Brilliance black and come down this way. Brilliance being that color, or that brand of ink. Brilliance dries pretty fast, so I'll probably still heat set this a little bit, but you don't need to heat set it too much because it's designed to dry fast for you. All right, let's see here. Let me see if I can come up this way a little bit. Okay, I'm just kind of moving this around now a little bit. Right. A bit heavier on the bottom. We'll go for some pretty true opacity down below, and then it just becomes a little more translucent silver. You can see a lot of the black showing through. I'm wondering if I added too much silver here. I guess it'll make my imagery stand out stronger in the foreground here, though, maybe. Okay, so that is that. Let's stop right there. I just don't think I can get that much smoother. Well, okay, actually it is getting a little bit smoother. I'm using a little bit more pressure, so I didn't think that that would kind of smash it around, but I guess this ink is wet enough still, where that is making a little bit of a difference there. Now, in the last video, I used Platinum Planet over the underneath my silver, and I think that made for a pretty nice kind of glowing surface. The Platinum Planet was a little bit of a warmer, kind of iridescent look, where this one's just more straight silver. I'm not going to do that, though. I'm just going to let's go fairly minimal with this in terms of our usage. Okay, so there we go. Not perfect by any means, but I don't know, not bad. It's a little bit heavy right there, but like I said, I have a lot of images to stamp over the top of this, so, you know, I'm not really worried about that, you know, at all. Okay, so here's what I wanted to give a try with. Here's what I want to try on here. Starlite Silver. Okay, that's what I just brayered down on here. Okay, so let's go with some cloud. My expensive cloud template here. I'm joking. Alright, let's see, I'm trying for a little bit more of a rounded form. My Starlight Silver, sorry, is really quite damp, okay? It's really super juicy. It's like the opposite of my my white pad, which I'm able to use really freely on here. So, okay, so let's get some ink on here. So I need to be careful, in other words, of getting too blobby of an application. Test out a little bit on just a piece of white paper. Remember, it's going to stand out more in the dark. And let's start applying some of this down here. We'll go into our transitions down here, just because, you know, those transitions aren't the best. But like I said, I mean, I didn't need them to be because of the images that we'll stamp on here and whatnot. Okay, so when you're doing this, I have a video on this cloud process, the do's and don'ts. So what I'm doing right here is I'm adding this. I'm only doing about half of this or a quarter of this cotton ball, and then I'm kind of coming down in there, and that's giving me that little bit of a transitioning cloud. Okay, now I'm fine. This is really juicy. I don't know. I guess because I'm using a cotton ball, it applies to the cotton ball fairly lightly, so I'm not getting really, any really bad obtrusive types of blobs when I go like this. Okay. 100% cotton ball. You can play around. You can try it with the acrylics. I don't find those to be terribly user friendly. I have a really hard time using them, just in terms of their application of ink, because they just don't absorb very much ink. They kind of wick moisture. That's what I've always learned about kind of synthetics. They wick moisture away from your body. Okay, so see that right there? I'm just kind of adding it, making that little bit of a line, and then what you do is you kind of blend it down a little bit, or a lot, whatever you want. Just like this. So it kind of creates those clouds, whatever way you want to do it. You can do this. You can change it around and go this way, whatever. All right. Let's go for a little bit more of extreme. You got to change this around once in a while because that ink does start soaking through that paper towel, and then you can start getting some of the texture of the paper towel on your piece right there. This kind of this paper towel texture like that. You know, which, I don't know. Maybe you want that, I don't know. I guess it could be used for some sort of decorative element. Oh yeah, I forgot about pigment ink. You can kind of do little swipes like this too. It doesn't have to be just tapping straight up and down. Is that like that? You can kind of move this like this. You can move it around like this too. You don't always have to just stay static with it. That's one of the things about kind of using a paper towel as a template as opposed to kind of a hard template. I do love the hard templates though. But this one just, you know, because it's adding a very soft application to it, it's kind of less defined, you know. It's open to I don't know, kind of movement and variation. Okay, adding a little bit more down here, kind of adding a little bit of top lighting on some of these clouds. Okay, this one I don't like the shape of this here, so you just come right in here. You don't have to stay right on the line either. Just kind of make it a little bit more amorphic, okay? And to me, I think the clouds look a little bit more like they're in motion by doing so. You can come, you know, take your template mask off and just free apply the inks like this, okay? Adding a little bit more down on that one. See this right here? You just kind of make it a little bit more full-bodied. It's not just the edge, you know, which looks good too, but you can come down here like this and build up more variation. Okay, so this is another reason why I'm not really worried about things like this with the brayering. The brayering got everything established in a, boy, quick fashion. But you just kind of go in here and you can do little details like this. I'm finding new marks all the time. Look at this little kind of swirly motion like this with the cotton ball. Seems like it's doing a pretty nice little touch. You can swipe like this. You can swipe up like this and give your clouds a little bit more motion and body. Now, this is a 5x7, so we're talking about, you know, this is pretty big. This is 10x7 here. You know, it's not 8.5 by 11, but we're talking about a pretty, you know, fairly significant thing. Okay, now here's the silver aspect of it. I know it looks white like this, but, you know, see that kind of iridescence to it? I mean, this is, you know, I can touch this right now. It's not, you know, it doesn't take long to dry on here. Like I said, Brilliance, you know, dries pretty fast. You know, I probably have some residue on my thumb by doing that, but just, you know, to show you. Okay, I'm going to put a moon up here somewhere, you know, silver moon type thing. And let's just do it with a mask here. I just have this hole punch right here. I don't know, it looks like a 1 inch, doesn't it? I'll just go like this. I guess you could do a quarter, you know, a crescent moon too sometime. You can just, you know, kind of tape that like that, and you'd have a crescent moon up here like that. I don't know, full moons are pretty dramatic though, aren't they? Let's just go full. I don't know. Let's go about 3/4 like that. Oh wait, maybe, yeah, let's go 3/4. Let me go a little bit over here. I think I might save some space for a quote stamp up here. I'm not sure though. Might be strange having it on the back side of the, you know, the card, but I don't know. Well, we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to just do everything in silver. We can do it in white, you know, and use multi-values too, but I think we'll just keep it with the silver. Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit varied on the moon. I don't know. Kind of thought about it kind of late, but see that right there? I kind of went heavier on one side and darker on the other. Just, I don't know, just for variation like that, I think that looks better than, I don't know, full, uniform. Maybe, I don't know. It's just one of those little things. It kind of, there's variation happening in the clouds, there's variation happening in the moon. Okay, let's see, how are we doing here? We're at the 15-minute mark. I don't think I restarted for any reason. So that's not too bad. I mean, this is really coming along, and then the impressions aren't going to take too long. Okay. You can bring these clouds, you can bring the cloud in front of the moon too. Okay. Don't worry about kind of staying away from it. It'd be kind of cool for some of the clouds to be in front of it, maybe. It's like the moon's peeking out from behind the clouds. Okay. This is really kind of fills in like this, doing this little squiggle mark. I don't like this just blank like that. I like to give it more body, so we'll come in here and give, a little bit more of a full kind of application in here, like so. See that? So there's like two areas kind of capturing some light of that moon, like so. Interesting working with the silver. I mean, it's, to me, even sitting right here, I mean, I can see the light reflecting off of this, so it looks different, but it's really not too much different than working with white. I mean, I would say the feel and touch of it feels exactly the same. It's like there's no difference at all. I would have thought differently just because my white pad is so dry, and this one, I don't know, it just seems so juicy. I haven't re-inked it at all since I bought it, but it's a fairly new pad. Building it up like that. See that right there? I'm just kind of moving this along. Then I can come in here like this. What I would recommend is kind of getting a few going like this, and then, when you look at it, then you might go back to it. Like I see this big chasm in here, or the moon's right here, so let's put a few more highlights on maybe some of these clouds that are facing the moon, okay, to give kind of a lighting direction. Okay, like over here. This moon, this cloud right here is really kind of next to that moon, so I'll try to lighten that up a little bit with some additional silver ink on the top, like that. See that? This cloud down here is capturing some of that light. I don't like this big line in between of black, right? Let's come in to it a little bit and fill in. That. I mean, I guess be careful not to just, cover everything, color everything a uniform silver. Have a little bit of variation in there probably. Okay, so that is that. I'm trying to decide if I want some additional clouds above, or if I want to just leave it at that. If I leave it at that, it would really give me a lot of opportunity for just a lot of different quote stamps. But if I put cloud textures up there, then the quote stamp won't stand out as much against that, so I'm not quite sure if I should do that or not. I'm thinking I might just leave it as is. Okay, so let's make this moon kind of glow a little bit, so I'm putting a very dry application of this silver around it, like so. Okay. I usually come in here and add a little bit of a highlighting with a white pen if I'm doing white, but maybe I'll be able to add some highlights using a silver pen. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the silver pen would look lighter or if it would look darker as a highlight. I don't know. You always have to kind of take into consideration the metallic reflective quality of media if you're using it. Sometimes it looks dark, but then when light hits it, it's lighter than, it's lighter than white. But then when you look at it, just as is, sometimes it's darker than white without any light reflecting on it. It's silver. Okay, so that is that. Yeah, look at that. Really, look at that. Reflect that. I don't know if it's because it's still wet, though. There's my moon right there. It looks kind of boring, right? But then when it captures that light, it really reflects a lot of light like that. So it's like, yeah, and I like that. These things kind of come to life with the use of those metallic pigment inks. It's just, I don't know, just that extra little aspect of it or detail. Okay, so that is that. Let me heat set this a little bit. I did find in my last piece that kind of heat setting allowed me to stamp impressions over the top of it a little bit cleaner, the ink transferred. So let's give that a try here. All right, we won't go too extreme, like drying it out completely. I don't know. Maybe that would help. I don't know. But I think we'll just leave it at that. Okay, I did notice I got a lot of silver on the back side of this, so if it's something you're going to want to keep clean, then, kind of be mindful of that. That's not something I tend to worry about, though. But let's put a clean sheet back there just so it doesn't get any more. Okay, so, I don't know, when I do these experiments, I've just been staying with the same couple stamps when I'm doing this. All right. We really have some opportunity for some really tall trees in this larger format card. Do I stamp this in silver and some in black? I've been going with one image first, like all spruce trees, and then all, leafless trees. But let's try to mix it up a little bit first, so that the layering is a little bit more, a little bit more varied, I guess. Okay. All right, this is a Starlite Silver. Starlite Silver on Starlite Silver in the background, but it's a brayered Starlite Silver, so hopefully this stands out because it's a straight, solid impression of that ink as opposed to a brayered transitioning version of that ink in the background. If it doesn't stand out or if it just kind of disappears in the background, then so be it. It's not too bad. It would be interesting just to do all in silver, like right across the front, wouldn't it? But I think if we did that, it would have been better to not have so much silver down here. But I think that looks really good. I mean, white would really stand out on that, but... Oh, I said I wanted to just stay with silver on this one. I'm going to do some black, though, too. Okay, let's go a little bit lower here. Okay, those impressions look pretty good on there, I'd have to say. Okay, so that being said, let's do heat set in between layers. Hardly ever heat set in my life. But, you have to kind of mix things up a little bit. Okay, now this is always what I'm worried about. I'm worried about this black being thick and opaque enough to where it stands out over the top of all this silver, we have to have enough ink transfer to the page. Okay, let's go about right here. So I'm overlapping some of my first Leafless Pine image. Sometimes I haven't pressed hard enough on this stamp sometimes because I'm a little bit worried because it's such a thick ink. I don't want all the details to fill in and spread, but I haven't had any problem with them kind of smudging, so maybe I don't need to worry about that at all, or I guess I don't. Okay, all right, so that stamped out. That covered that decently. Not great, but it did stamp out really light, didn't it? Okay, so that being said, let's hit this with a little bit more of re-inker ink for the Brilliance Black. Let's see if we can get a more opaque, darker version of that. All right, where did my ink spreader go? There it is. Amazon gift card, huh? It's an Amazon ink spreader. Joking. Okay. Let's go for impression number 2. I mean, if this, okay, you can see where that silver transferred onto that spruce. Okay. Let's go a little bit lower. I always change kind of the height. Now I only needed to ink up here. I inked up all the way down here, but, you know, I hadn't decided how much I was going to use of it, so. All right, now this one I'm not stamping over this too much, just on the side. Okay, so that stamped out a little bit darker. So the lighter one, I don't think that's bad, though, because it just looks farther off in the distance, you know, when you have a darker and a lighter one like that, so. That almost looks pretty good just with those, you know, I usually did the whole row across there side to side, but I kind of like it in there, too, like that. Just, I don't know, just for a change, not as something better or worse. Okay, let's go up here with this one. Let's go off here to the side a little bit more. And I'll go down a little bit lower, just so this one's a little bit higher. Just variation. Now, I was going to say let's sandwich this, but I was going to put another leafless pine kind of over the top of these ones right here to give it a little bit of depth. I don't know if I think this composition might just be fine just as is without, you know, yet another layer in there. All right, so yeah, I think that looks okay just as is. Like that down there. And I think that helped having that one lighter, don't you think? I don't know, it just looks like there's a little bit more depth in there. I guess we could do a silver one. I mean, a leafless tree back here, but you do it in black too. You know what I mean? That would really vary it, but let's not, you know, that's just another possibility here. We're just kind of testing out to see how things would look. Okay, now let's go in here with some additional effects. I could splatter it. I tend to splatter paint everything, and it just, I don't know. I haven't met anything that where that hasn't kind of helped kind of the overall look. But let's play around with some things here. Okay, let's add some crystals in here, a quote stamp, and let's add that quote first, because if we're going to add things, we don't want to have a bunch of things in here and have to stamp a quote over the top of it. So let's kind of figure out what we're going to use in here. I'd imagine it'll be a quote about some moon or something like that. Okay, we have a Emerson quote, Ralph Waldo that is, "Nature is a mutable cloud which is always and never the same." I thought that would be appropriate for here. All right. I wish it was, maybe, I don't know, maybe this is good. I was thinking, I wish the text on this one, for this purpose, was a little bit bolder, because we have a large thing like this. But I don't know, maybe this kind of more delicate, I don't know what text I used on here, Palatino maybe or something. Might be better. Okay, we're going to do this in silver. We're going to stay within the theme, all right? All right, let me do a test print. Perfect. I just want to make sure I'm not oversaturating the text in here and filling up the spacing in there. Okay, so let's go about right here. I'm just eyeballing it. It might be a little bit crooked, I don't know. Yeah, not too bad. Look at that text right there. That looks good, doesn't it? And it's silver too, so let's take a look at it as in terms of a whole. Remember, see, this is a scene like this, so it has to be able to kind of work like that. And then here's the other scene like that, but then it has to work as a whole when you open up the card. All right. So I think that looks pretty good. The one thing that I'm kind of looking at is that moon. I kind of like that moon to stand out a little bit more. So, let's do, I don't even know which cotton ball okay, I think this is the cotton ball I was using. Let's use this a little bit more here. Okay. Just because I want that moon to be the lightest thing in here. Okay. And let's do something like this. A mutable cloud that's never the same. Let's give some of these clouds a little bit more character. Not everywhere. But see that right there? See how I'm just kind of doing that little wisp off the top of it? Like that, and I don't know, we can do it down here somewhere else. I find it's kind of better not to do it everywhere. I really like this look, and on one of my recent scenes I did it everywhere, and it was just too much. It looked like hairy clouds or something like that. Oh, see that right there? That little wisp? Like that? Okay, I need to do it a little bit more. I think that looks pretty good. Let's do it right over here, like this, okay? I'll try to be kind of sparse with it, though. Okay, so there we go. Doesn't it give that kind of wind, type of feeling? All right, now do we need to do any more variation back here to make this area more interesting? I think that looks okay as is. I'm trying to decide, do I do a little bit of white paint here and there? Let's try it, okay? I'm kind of resisting the urge to do a little splatter painting with that. With our bleed-proof white. It makes everything look better, to be quite frank, in my opinion. Even like daylight scenes, in a high noon, I just say it's pollen in the air or something like that. Okay, so this is just a white paint pen. I've been using it a lot over the top of pigment ink, so that pigment ink gets in there sometimes. But all right, let's see. Is this even flowing? I hope I didn't clog it up a little bit too much on my last scene. But oh, it's a little bit translucent. You really have to shake these up. These pens, I find, work fantastic. I've never found one to clog on me so far, except for when I was, building up a lot of paint on the interior. But okay, the reason why they don't clog up is because the ink is very thin. So, on the other hand, the other side of that convenience is that of not clogging is that you really have to shake it up every time, because it really, the paint and binder, which I guess is water, really tends to separate on you a lot. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm doing right here. This is going to be very subtle. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I put this paper over this because I'm going to put my hand down here, but I'm just trying to give these clads a little bit more texture and body and illumination. We don't need to worry about the illumination when you're kind of angling this up and it's reflecting a lot of light, okay? But when I'm looking at it like now, without a ton of light reflecting off of it, I feel that we can use a little bump in contrast. So now I'm doing it very lightly. I'm just adding a few little dots here and there in kind of the lighter areas, okay? So this is what it looks like. Okay, like this. See those little white dots in there? I mean, they're very subtle, but when I go like this and all that light is reflecting off of that, you can't see them. But then when it's like this, when it's darker, silver is not a light color. It's more like I don't know, like a 30% or something like that. So you see these little dots down here? I mean, it's, like I said, it's very subtle, but they're just little textures. Okay. So adding that down like so. You kind of cluster it, then you kind of dissipate it a little bit. Kind of have a little bit more, then you spread them out, okay? In some areas, maybe you just put a couple dots, I don't know, one dot or something like that, okay? Okay, so there it is down here. These portions, hope you can see that. Right, and there's little isolated dots. There's like one or two over there. Okay, now, but having those kind of little reflections on the clouds gives us an opportunity for some reflections of the same color, white, down here, okay? So let's put some of these onto some of the trees. Same type of concept. You can add a few more. You can do a little bit of a line, then kind of taper the dots off. Okay. It can make objects a little bit more three-dimensional by adding these types of things onto them in some areas. Yeah, even on the black right here, you can put a few little highlights on your, the dark silhouettes like that. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can add as much as you want. If you add tons of it, it tends to look like Christmas lights or something like that. But I can't say that's not festive, by doing so. So it just kind of makes it stand out from the background too a little bit, having a little bit of a lighting on the objects like so. They're a little bit more three-dimensional, and you're adding like a little bright bit of contrast in it, like a little twinkly light. Okay. All right. So that is down here. Okay. On this side of the tree, facing the moon. A few more highlights on that side of the tree facing the moon, right? And on this side, less, so it kind of reiterates directional lighting. The moon is above this one, so I can put a little bit more at the top of the tree, perhaps. This one, it's a little bit off to the left, so on the left-hand side of that tree. So see little things like that on the spruce trees, and then you go like that, and, it's lighting. If I ever go too much with the silver in here, all you do is, if you have black like this, I think I might have gone a little bit too heavy-handed with some of that silver in there. You just go in here with the black. Here, whoa, that's super juicy. I just remembered. I forgot that I re-inked it recently. So just blot it off and come in here with the black and, just kind of mute it out a little bit. You don't have to go in real heavy. It can just be, barely visible little mark like that. But it'll just mute down some of that ink a little bit. Okay. And this black really matches the surface of the paper. Let's do something too. See this down here? I find that it looks okay, but it's a little bit, let's contain it a little bit more with a little bit of vignette. You can tell me if this looks good or not, or if you liked it better the other way. Sometimes I like to go in the four corners though, like this. See this? I'm just giving a little bit of a frame. Like that, just to contain my imagery down below slightly, okay? I don't want to make it too dark, but I guess this can give us a little bit of variation with our, our silver, very flat application of ink by brayering, okay? Okay. All right. Okay, that is that. All right, let me see if I can get some clean applications of this glue. It's not specialized glue. I had one type of glue, probably from 15 years ago, and it's not dry, so that's why I'm using this one right here. Everywhere where a drop of glue goes, I'll put a little crystal. I don't know. You pretty much, I think you have to put one down after you do something like this. Otherwise, there's kind of this little blob there. Kind of space them a little bit more. I wouldn't say random, but slightly irregular. Everyone tends to put all of their little dots completely uniform. So here I'm putting a little grouping of 3. Here's an isolated 1. Here's 4 over here. You know what I mean? So just kind of play around with that a little bit. Okay, so let's see where those are. Okay, you can see all those little dots like that. Little bead of glue, right? It's been fun playing around with silver. In this type of technique. Okay. Crystal gems. Tech Unite. I don't know. It's like $7 for 2,000 or I don't know, whatever it was, like something like that. A huge number of crystals. I don't usually use huge ones up here. I don't know, maybe one day I'll have to use it for something. Like I've ever did a card for like a young child, I would go crazy with the gems, because they would get a kick out of seeing all those little crystals on there like that. Like a lot of bling. Or maybe I'd use it for like eyeballs or something, hiding in the woods or something. Wouldn't that be cool? Kind of draw like white paint pen dots, kind of like things lurking in the shadows or whatever, but a kind of pair of crystal eyes would be kind of interesting. All right, 3, pretty decent size ones there. Okay. Let's play around with some smaller ones. Those are really fun against this black paper. They really stand out quite a bit. Alright, let's see if I can control these little dinky ones here. These are ones are the smallest ones are really small. Yeah, see, that's the problem. I just picked up two. And I think I got glue on that last application. Oops, there. I'm going to have glue on my gem picker here. Alright, here we go. There we go. Okay. Oops, upside down again. It's hard to tell sometimes, you know, these things are so tiny. I can't tell which way it's configured on the gem picker. Alright, turn over. Okay, here we go. It's like going fishing. I don't know which direction it's going to come up. Alright, there's our blinged out sky, huh? Let's see what it looks like in context. Okay, like so. Remember to close these things. Alright. Okay, let's go up here. This is such a tall scene, you know, when it's not folded. Alright, so let's check it out. Does it read okay as a card down here? Seems like it can use a little bit of a focal point down there, but there's the top portion of it. Top portion of it looks really cool, huh? Alright, so let's fold this, and yeah, just be careful with that. This is a little bit damp. I got little silver-tipped fingertips here, but on something like this, I'm not worried too much about it. But I'll give this a little bit of a better crease like this. But okay, so here we go. That silver like that. You can see that reflective quality of those trees, especially. The silver back here is variations of kind of opaque and translucent. You know, so these ones are just solid impressions. Let's see if that black here. The black here it shows up pretty good. These ones look darker, I think, still, you know, more than this one. So that gave it a little bit of depth. And then here we have this as like it's almost like a second scene. And then this is like, I tell people when you're doing kind of both sides, it's like you get one scene, two scenes, and then three, like a double page splash page or whatnot. But I think that would be pretty fun for, you know, some to open up and to do that. I won't address the interior of the card like that, but, you know, opening it up like this, if you put some other type of quote down here or something like that, or, you know, I would write something out in a silver pen just for continuity between the front side and the back. That would look pretty good. So anyways, let's take a look at here a little bit closer. Here's this little sparkly stars and whatnot, like so. Go down like this. There's the silver reflective aspect of it. Okay. And I mean, it does look different than white. I think white would look great on this too, though. But I don't know. It's just another element. You can really see that kind of reflective quality. Sometimes it's hard for me to show, you know, just exactly what these things look like, just because I have so much light reflecting off of them like so in my studio here. But let's take out this background here too. Let's see, like that. But not so pretty. I don't know, pretty fun to do. And it's, I don't know, like I said, this is almost like a full page format like that, but it comes together pretty quick. And that brayering down there really did give us a big head start, you know, to the whole concept. A quarter page card would take a lot less time. So anyway, fun stuff, fun little techniques right here. And I think, you know, that silver on black is a really fun combination. Gold would be interesting to play around with too. Gold would be much darker though, so it'd give it probably more of an antique look. We'll have to see. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section. And let's see, please, if you enjoy these videos, please take a, I don't know, half second and click the thumbs up for me. Okay, thanks a lot.